last year it was about young people, we had it about women, and I think this time the theme is European adventures. I must say I haven't had the time myself to watch the films, but I think it's a good mix of films that are nice for children, on adventures. There are some films, well, a wide array of European member states are represented, and also Switzerland, which is actually not a member of the EU, but they're also participating. This is done with the funding of the European Union and the British Council, so we're doing this together. You may have seen the details. Of course, we have this booklet, QFX Kumari Hall, which is a very comfortable hall. And we would especially urge you to come and see the opening film, which is a German film, and it's called Bornholmer Straße, which in German means Bornholm Street. And I think it's a bit symbolic, because if you look at around the world nowadays, there's always talk of building walls, you know. The US, they want to build a wall, people are less outward looking and want to protect what they have. And in fact, this film is about the demolition of the wall of Berlin. So I think it's for us interesting to look back and see, well, there was this wall, it had a terrible impact on the people in Germany at the time. Both were divided between East and West. And we're smashing that wall, but how, it's also a comic. A very humoristic film of what is the impact of actually having a wall and what leads to its destruction. So I think symbolic in many ways. So I would really urge you to come. It's all free. There will also be a reception just before at 6 o'clock. And then the film, Amber, it will start, the film itself will be screened? At 6:30. At 7:30, yeah. So this will be this Friday, which kicks off the festival. And then, of course, over the weekend we screen all the films. You have the things here, the program. It's all free, and I think we can say that every year we've had more and more people interested to come and see, because it's a unique opportunity to sit in a nice cinema hall and to see European films which you normally would not be able to see so easily here in Nepal. Yeah, so and then there are 16 films in total from 13 different EU member states. So it's a nice turnout, and it will give you some perception on what the EU is about, and for intercultural exchange, which we think is also what we're here for, to familiarize people about the EU, about European countries. So. So that's it, and warmly welcome again, and please, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to reply. Right, that's an interesting question. Basically, it's always a challenge for us to get enough films, from our member states to be able to put a festival together. So actually, we tend to rather look at the theme once we have received the films, because it's very difficult to say, okay, let's do something. For example, we have had local elections this year in Nepal, very important. So what can we do, for example, in Europe to do something around this theme? That would have been interesting, but then you cannot ask your member states to all come up with films on that issue, very difficult. So it's rather the other way around. What films do we get, and do we see one single theme or thread that goes through it? And I think this year, if we look at, it's light-hearted, it's adventures, it's, discover Europe. And so I wouldn't say that there is really a very intellectual debate around it, but it's just, European adventures, different movies that should enable you to discover Europe. In earlier years, for example, we had the theme of women. And there we had a lot of films that were looking at the position of women and girls in Europe, which I think was interesting also to compare with here the situation in Nepal. And so now this time it's more adventurous, they're children's movies, so yeah, that is a little bit... but I think the most symbolic film will remain the one with which we are opening on the demolition of the Berlin Wall. And also interesting, because this year is also 60 years of the existence of the European Union. So in fact the Rome treaties were declared 60 years ago, and so for us that's also an important festivity, and we want to remember that. I mean, as you know, we started the European Union with 6 member states, the Benelux, France, and Germany, and Italy. I think the European project is still growing, and it's a project, you know, in movement, and so it's growing, and that's also what we want to convey.
Which movie is going to be premiered? Why you selected for premiere?
Well, as I said, the German movie is the premiere one, the Bornholmer Straße, which is it's the one about Berlin. We wanted to mark something symbolic. You know, this film is about the destruction of the Berlin Wall, which had an immense impact on the citizens of Berlin and Germany, and this in a time when people are more and more talking about building walls. Well, that's an interesting question. I think if what we can do with the limited means we have here in our delegation is to give appropriate visibility to the Nepali film industry, and we could, but there is very, for example, distribution, of course, that should be in the hands of professional Nepali distribution companies, because that is for us difficult to do. But what we can do is, for example, through social media, which are also read by and followed by many people in Europe, to say, listen, this is, you know, Nepali film industry is a very big film industry. You know, this is a country of more than 30 million people. It has a big industry, it has its movie stars, so it deserves more visibility. And I think there are also, for example, the Mountain Film Festival that puts it on the perspective. There's the South Asia Film Festival. So all these are, I think, important avenues for Nepal to showcase what its movies are. And we can give visibility to it because we're here in Nepal, and I mean, I'm also a big fan of Nepali cinema. I have a friend actually who made a film about a small Nepali boy who, from a very poor background, who became a doctor, who was actually, he went to Kathmandu, had to live in the slums and became a doctor. It was called Dr. Kate. I don't know if you
Dr. Kate,
yeah. So that's one film I thought was really interesting. Then I have not been able to go very often to the cinema here, but I know, for example, that what I want to do when I leave is to buy a lot of DVDs and films I've heard about, which were very comical and which have had big successes. Now I can't remember the names, but for example, I know that there are so many good actors here, like Rajesh Hamal or others. So there is such a vibrant community of actors, and not only in films but also theater, which we also try to work with. For example, the Anne Frank project, the Laramie project, which were very interesting endeavors.
Yeah, booklet is covered with some information. Tickets can be obtained for free at the hall on a first come first served basis on its screening day. Is this facility will be practiced? If yes, then how?
So basically what it says, you come, you take the tickets, it's free, and of course at a certain moment, if there's a lot of people, but that we have never seen, Amber in earlier, that it was full house or house full, but the earlier you come, at least you will be sure that you can have a few tickets. Maybe you can also explain, Amber.
Yeah, that's true. You can book online also through qvfxcinemas.com. But at the most you can book 2 tickets per individual, and you can call the hall and book 2 tickets at the most, because our past experience is that people really took many tickets and didn't come at all.
Yeah.
So this time we limited it to 2 each, and if many want to come, then 3 friends can gather and book 2 tickets each, so that will be 6. Simple as that.
So it's to give everybody a chance to come and see the films.
Will inaugurate the opening ceremony?
Yes, we will start with a cocktail reception to which you're all very heartily invited. And then that starts at 6. It's on the cinema grounds outside. There will be snacks and drinks. I will do a short speech, and then at 7:30 we will show the film. See you all on Friday. And please tell your friends and your family about it, that this is a unique opportunity, it's free of cost, and we would all be happy that as many people as possible come to see the European films here in Kathmandu over the next couple of days.